Welcome back to the GreenLight Investor for the week ending April 8th, 2016. Our goal at the GreenLight Investor is to provide a resource to make managing the fund choices within your 401k both a simple and easy process. We do this with a worksheet that uses red, green, and yellow cells to help you decide when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be taken as personal investment advice. The examples shown are exactly that. They're examples of how you can use this worksheet as an additional resource to help you make and manage fund choices within your 401k. Always refer to your own investment policy to make certain that the choices you make are appropriate for both your investment time horizon as well as your understanding and acceptance for taking risk in financial markets. Let's go ahead and go right into our presentation. And here's the worksheet that we'll update each week. Up in the left-hand corner, you'll have my contact information if you want to ask me any questions or get in touch with me regarding this work. On the left side of this worksheet, we have the investment choices. The different column headers include the fund number, the symbol, the fund name, and a brief description of the fund. We also have hyperlinks that will take you to an outside resource where you can do additional research on each of the funds, as well as find out how to get a prospectus or get to the company's website to find out a little bit more depth about each of the fund and some of the top investments that the fund holds. At the top of the worksheet, we have the core investments, which are your index funds. And as we scroll down, we'll have the satellite funds, starting with the more conservative fixed income, U.S. growth and income funds, U.S. equity. They get more aggressive as we go down, and we'll have the international funds and the sector funds at the bottom. In the center part of the worksheet, we have the performance data for the year 2016. We'll have the closing price each week, the month to date, quarter to date, and year to date returns. And these are helpful so you can see which funds are performing the best, which ones are the weakest in each of the categories, and if you need to make allocations, this can often be very helpful. And on the right side of this worksheet, we have what I consider the most unique part of it. It's called the current weekly trends. It's a relative strength gauge, and we'll show you which funds are performing the best relative to the entire group. On a week-over-week basis, we'll show the relative strength trend change. Funds that are doing the best in each category will have the bright green light. Funds that are doing the worst in each category will have the red lights. And here you can quickly take your eye to see which funds have been doing well and which ones have been the weaker performance. In general, we had weakness in this category. We've got a couple of funds that have done extremely well here and here over the week. These have been generally weaker. And down here, the energy has been very strong. So quickly, at a glance, take a look and see how each of the funds have been performing. And then when you go over to column W, each week we'll give each of the funds a trend score number. The higher the number, the stronger the trend has been, and the lower the number, the weaker it's been. When the trend is positive, it'll show a green light with a green dot in it. When the trend has been negative, you'll see a red tile with a red dot in it. When you see the yellow dot, that means that it's possibly transitioning from, say, a red to a green in this case. So it gives you a heads up that you're going from a negative situation to what could be a more positive, sustainable situation. The perfect situations that we see are when you see two green lights to the right and a bullish sign in the long-term column. The long-term trend is the one that you want to pay attention to, because that's where you can stay with a trend that can be developing and turn into a long-term sustainable trend. So it's important to follow all of the lights and the signals in the system, because you never know when they're going to be sustainable and when they're going to reverse. So you simply follow the signals as they appear. Down here we have two of the funds that are showing green lights on both sides, so that's a good situation. And down here we're seeing a number of the funds starting to turn green. So we could be at the start of a bullish alert, as we call it, and the way we signal that is we say the U.S. equities are in a bull alert phase, which means it could turn into a more sustainable bullish run. So we try to detect that fairly early so you can get involved in a run if it does materialize. Okay, with that said, let's see how we can use this to make allocations to your 401k. To do so, we'll click on the View in the ribbon, and we'll go to Custom Views, and we'll change the worksheet over to My Allocations. And column H will be the column that we use to keep track of what the signals are telling us to do. Again, when we see green lights in column W in the weekly trend scores, we like to see 2 of these columns turn green. And then in column U, we like to see the long-term trend either yellow or preferably green to confirm that we're in a long-term sustainable situation. So to make choices within your 401k, you simply slide the worksheet over. Here we have 5% allocation, so we're fully invested in the index funds as we have them right now. And we're seeing a situation where we see a green light, green light, green light, we're good. Here we have a yellow, which is all right, and 2 green lights, so nothing to do there. This situation, we have 2 green lights and we're still yellow, so we have a 10% allocation, which is just fine. Here we could actually make an allocation to either of these funds, to the growth and income funds. In fact, why don't we do that? Let's go ahead and change this allocation. Let's change this one now, and let's go to a 10% allocation, and let's do a 5% and a 5% to each of these funds as they're turning green. Also, what we're going to have to do is to change that 5% allocation to each of the funds. We're going to take that out of the money market, and this will be allocated down to 50%. So now our target allocation is down to 50%. Let's keep scrolling down. Here we're seeing 2 green lights in a bullish situation. So let's again take this. We'll look at our fund that we're going into. We're going to take this, and since we have a 30% allocation, we don't have any capital allocated. Let's go ahead and take 10% allocation to this fund here. And in doing so, we're also going to have to remove another 10%, so that takes us down to a 40% allocation. And let's see where we can go from there. We scroll down, we're seeing that we've just allocated to the U.S. equities. The international funds are still underperforming. Let's move this down to a 25% allocation, and we'll take our international down to 20. That'll bring our target allocation back down to 100. If we start to see some green lights appear, we'll be allocating back to the international funds. And we have our sector funds set at a target of 20%. We currently have 10%, and we're good because we have 2 green lights and a bullish signal. And we have a bullish signal and 2 green lights. So we've made a couple of changes now, put more capital in the markets. As we see the green lights, we're down to about 40% in cash, and we'll continue to allocate that each week as we see the green light appear. And we'll just keep an eye out for any red lights that may come up, and if so, we'll be moving money back to the cash fund or possibly to other funds that have the green lights appearing. With that said, that's all you need to do in order to manage your 401k choices. Is look for the green lights, yellow lights, and red lights, and it becomes fairly straightforward to allocate capital to each of the funds. One thing to remember is that you always have to go back to your company website to make the actual changes. This is just an Excel worksheet that will let you keep track of where your funds are, and more importantly, it'll show you the red, green, and yellow lights in order to tell you when you need to make changes on your company website. This is just a reference tool, so please use it as that. With that said, let's go back to our main page, and we'll wrap it up right here. That's what I've got for the week. I hope it's been helpful and gives you some ideas and resources to make choices and manage choices within your 401k plan. Again, if you'd like to ask me any questions or like some additional information on how you can use this worksheet, please feel free to contact me. My contact information is up in the corner here. And that's what I've got. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your weekend to watch this video, and I hope it's been helpful, and all the best for a great week ahead. Thank you.